Today, the Nigerian police force is set to create another impression in the minds of everyone. They are set by commencing school visitation. School visitation is for them to be able to interact with a lot of students and let them know what are the benefits that they can get in the Nigerian police force. Join me and let us see what is going to go happen here in Abuja. I am Gbemiga Olamikon.
IGP protocol profession, but I will still remain and allow the officer to introduce herself. She is CSP Chinoyere Lawrence. Please come forward, please. A round of applause.
Good morning, students. Good morning, principal. They are the reason we're here. That's why I greeted them first. And all protocols duly observed. I think it's an honor for us to be in your midst. We're very delighted that your school is receiving us to have this school visitation here in Model Secondary School, Mitama. I am Dr. Chinoyere Lawrence Wile, a Chief Superintendent of Police. So very quickly, I'll be talking about health. I'm a medical doctor. Of course, I graduated from medical school before I joined the Nigerian Police Force. And as a child, I would say I always wanted to be a police officer. I also always wanted to be a medical doctor. So as you can see, it's very possible that you become a doctor and you join the police force. How many people here want to join the police force? We will go back. How many people want to join the police force? Very good. How many people here want to be doctors? Okay, so we have more intending doctors than more intending police officers. Okay, but by the time I'm through with you, by God's grace, you probably want to be a police officer. Anyway, like I was saying, after I graduated from medical school, I joined the police force. The thing about being a police officer is that you get to reach out to people. As a medical doctor, you also get to see patients, you get to reach out to people. More importantly, as a medical doctor, being a police officer, I don't just see your regular patients, I see patients that are criminals. I see patients that are suspects. Am I going to treat them like criminals? How am I going to treat them? Like my patients, right? So you see that I'm turning between seeing a patient that probably just murdered someone and treating him professionally as I can and making sure that he gets treatment without any form of bias. So you see that my job is not very easy. Not as if it's very difficult anyway, it's something that you do with passion. But for the purposes of this visitation here, I would like us to talk about a topic that I'm very, very passionate about, and that is sexual and gender-based violence. I'm sure you are aware of that topic, right? Who would agree with me that it's not only female students or females that are abused or sexually violated? Who would agree with me? We also know that lots of male students or lots of boys or lots of male children are being violated. Do you have a question? Someone raised their hands. Okay. So it's so important that we know about this topic. Reason being that you can be in a class and then you have a friend who all of a sudden becomes withdrawn. Can you hear me? Who all of a sudden becomes withdrawn. It can be that the person is battling with sexual or physical assault or physical abuse, as the case may be. So it behoves you to try and find out. But if you try and then you're not able to, you report to the appropriate authorities, which will be your teachers, your principal, as the case may be. Don't ever take any of those telltale signs for granted. I beseech you guys here right now as students to know that lots of people, if I decide to start going one after the other, I will see somebody that who is being physically abused, who is being sexually abused. Mind you, verbal abuse is also, by the time your parents are telling you you will never be well with you will never do well at school, I hope you know that's some form of abuse. So it's very important that you learn how to speak with each other, you learn how to talk to each other, even as parents. So by the time you learn these things at school, you can take it back home, you can take it back to your community and explain to people that these are the things that frame our future, that frame our adult life. About sexual abuse, you hear people say things like, oh, the way the girl was dressing. Is there also a way a boy was dressing? So it shows you that whoever is involved in some form of sexual violence or sexual assault, whoever the suspect or the culprit is, just wanted to take advantage of that victim. So don't ever be ashamed. Don't ever let anybody judge you or make you feel, oh, it's because I'm female, or maybe because I'm a girl child and I'm a bit on the busty side, that's why they decided to sexually assault me. It's no fault of yours. It has nothing to do with you. So if you see or you suspect something like that is going on in your classroom, please do not take it for granted. Make sure you reach out to your teachers. If that person can't reach out, try and help them. So that's very quickly, because I don't have so much time here. And then what else can you see in someone that, if the person just starts doing something that they were not doing before, someone that was overtly quiet in class, and all of a sudden the person is very noisy, don't take it for granted. There's something going on. There's something actually changing in the person's pattern. So it's so important that as classmates, as friends in school, try to observe one another, because you want to help yourself. Do you want to do well in school and graduate and your friend didn't do well in school? You all want all of us to graduate. If we're taking SS3 exams, we all graduate and pass together and pursue our dreams. So you have to pay attention. It's your responsibility that you owe yourself and also your neighbors. So I don't know if there's anybody that has a question as regards sex. You can write it down, because I know it's a very sensitive topic and you would not be able to ask it here. But I will freely answer your questions. Maybe not now, through your principal, as the case may be. And then let's go to the big topic of the day, the one that concerns everybody, the reason why everybody here is wearing a face mask. Who knows why we're all wearing face masks? Answer. COVID-19, right? Oh, sorry. COVID-19. We all know what COVID-19 stands for, right? Coronavirus. That's what the CO is, and the V is the VI is the virus, and the D is the disease. And the 19 shows that it was that particular coronavirus, that particular strain started in the year 2019. We all know where it started from, right? In Wuhan, China. And that's why they tell you things like, if one person is safe, everybody is safe. If one person is not safe, everybody is not safe. I remember when COVID-19 started in 2019, we all thought it was far from us in Nigeria, isn't it? Everybody called it the disease happening in another place, and then it gradually spread until it came to Nigeria, and now it's a burden in our country. While wearing masks, these are things that we're not doing before. You saw before I started talking, I had to use the hand sanitizer, right? Why? Just in case there were germs from somebody else. The same way, when I'm passing it over, they will have to do the same, because you never know. So the strange thing about COVID-19, or rather the interesting thing about COVID-19, is it's a very unpredictable virus. You cannot say, because I have it and I got better and I'm okay, it will happen the same way for the other person. No. COVID-19 virus is very unique, is very unpredictable, and it's extremely mysterious. So that is why we say prevention is better than cure. We cannot determine the direction the virus will go as regards a patient that was infected. We have patients that we call asymptomatic. We've all heard that word, right? Asymptomatic patients mean patients that do not show any symptoms. People know that people that have COVID-19 virus, they have fever, or they cough, or they get tired, or they are vomiting. But there are patients that have COVID-19, or there are people that have COVID-19 virus that do not have any symptom. They do not even know they have the virus. And that is the reason why we are taking extra precautions. Because the moment I have the virus, for instance, he's looking at me standing there and he doesn't know I have the virus. And I don't even know I have the virus. And I'm not wearing a mask, and I'm talking to him, and I shake him, or I exchange pleasantries with him by hugging him or something. He's likely to get infected. We don't know the level of his immunity. We don't know how boosted his immunity is. We don't know whether he has any underlying disease conditions, and he may not be able to withstand the virus. And that is why we insist on people wearing their face masks, washing their hands as often as possible, and the use of alcohol-based hand sanitizers, while we also social, or rather physical distance. It's so important. I love the seating arrangement here. It's very, in fact, clap for yourselves, clap for your school. It's very, very important, because when people speak, they are droplets of saliva, right? When people sneeze, they are also droplets of aerosols that come out of the nostril. So you don't know how far it travels. You may or may not get infected. So it's so important. Don't say, oh, this person had coronavirus, I was with him, I didn't get it. I was with her, I didn't get it. Me, I can't get it. No. You don't know, one, the viral load that was in that other person. You don't know the level of your immunity. So it's so important to take precautions. I saw hand sanitizer station, the dispensing station when I was going here. So your school is actually, in fact, give a round of applause for the principal and the management. So it's so important. And that's why daily we encourage that everybody tries to eat healthy, boost their immunity. How do you eat healthy? Try and eat more of natural foods. Try and eat more of vegetables and fruits. I hope many of you here take your oranges, take pineapple, take watermelon. Those things are readily available. We thank God that we even have them in an organic way. So it's not very badly fertilized that you're taking. You're taking it almost raw from nature. So it's better for you. Boost your immunity, because the truth is you never know. There are people here that if they have measles and another person comes that doesn't have measles, by the time that person is leaving, they'll contract it, right? There are other people that will stay in that room with them, be on the same bed with them, but they will not contract it. So there are dynamics of viruses, and there's something else we need to know. Viruses are what we call self-limiting, which means that a virus can come and go without you even knowing. The only way you know is probably they are doing a test, maybe in some 5-10 years or whenever, and then or 5 months, as the case may be. And then it will be detected that this person actually has the antibody, which means that that person has suffered from that particular virus or the infection, as the case may be. So you never really know who is likely to come down with a particular disease. So it's so important for you to play your part. I think I've communicated as regards coronavirus. I hope there's nothing I forgot. I don't know if you have any questions for me. You can write it down. Okay, and then not just HIV, hepatitis. I'm actually more passionate about hepatitis than HIV, because hepatitis is much more common in Nigeria now than even HIV. But we all know what HIV is, right? And I guess I'm talking to people that are in their age brackets of 16, 17, 18 at most, right? So most likely they should have been vaccinated with hepatitis B. I believe so. But let's not take it for granted. So when you get back home today, please ask your guardians, your parents, as the case may be, if you have had your hepatitis B vaccine. If not, go to the hospital, they'll do a test. I hope it's negative. If it's negative, you would then be vaccinated in 3 consecutive doses, the first, the second, and the third. Hepatitis B, the reason I'm talking about hepatitis B is that it's not as talked about like HIV. I'm sure if I ask you about HIV, you know about HIV, right? If I ask a few of you about hepatitis, you probably don't know so much. But hepatitis is almost even more transmissible than HIV. The same route of entry, the same way you get HIV, the same way you get hepatitis. Sexually transmitted. Most of you you're minors here, so I don't really think we should be talking about sexually transmitted. But let's still talk about it. There are people that get hepatitis B or HIV virus through sexual intercourse. And then also using of sharp objects. Your young students here, I don't expect to be talking about drug users. I don't believe anybody here will be using drugs. Am I right? Answer me also that I'm not fooling myself. So I don't believe anybody here will be using hard drugs or injecting themselves with drugs, because that's another route. By the time you're giving yourself IV drugs, you know, when some of these drug addicts, they use IV drugs, They use the needles and syringes interchangeably, they share. That's a route of transmission for both HIV and even hepatitis. And then, sharing of blood and blood products for people that have blood transfusion. And that's why before any blood transfusion, you always want to screen that blood, that particular blood contained in that blood bag, for HIV and for hepatitis and for other sexually transmitted diseases, as the case may be, because it's very possible. And then another way of transmission is through dental visits. Of course, other regular hospital visits. But you know why? Because dental visits use very sharp objects in cleaning. We have a dental technician here, so you would agree with me, right, that, you know, that people that have often dental visits are at risk of contracting either HIV or hepatitis. But along the line, we've had people have HIV that really cannot recount where they got it from, or where it was contracted, or even hepatitis. But that's not so important as to say, oh, we want to know where you got it from. What we want is for you to live and be healthy. For HIV, now we have drugs, and thankfully, government has made those drugs free. So you're able to register, and then they are placed on medication, they get married, they have their children. HIV is not so much as a burden like hepatitis, because the awareness is not there. So today, if there's anything I want you to remember apart from COVID-19, please make sure you find out if you have been vaccinated and your family against hepatitis B virus. It is so, so important. People don't know, and then by the time they come to the hospital, probably you start seeing their eyes are turning yellow. I don't know if any of you have seen people with their eyes yellow. You have, right? Most times the liver is already getting damaged, because hepatitis just means inflammation of the liver. It just means that the liver was inflamed. So it just means that there's an infection occurring in the liver, and so the liver is trying to fight it. But the time the liver starts fighting it is not the time the person got that infection. The same way when people get HIV, or when people are contracted of HIV, their body doesn't start fighting it. Their body, when the result comes, is not when they contracted it. I don't know if you understand. Remember, during this COVID, there was a word that people kept hearing: incubation period. Incubation period is the period between when the person actually contracted the disease to when there's manifestation of symptoms. So some people will not have symptoms. Some people will have symptoms. That's why they'll tell you HIV, no, they show for face. So you can't know. It's only when you do a test. Then for some other people, they would find out by some symptoms, running tummy, fever, and then they'll be like something is going on before they realize that they were infected. Any other thing? If you have questions, you can write them down. I'll gladly answer. Thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for her. Okay, fine. Who can tell me what an incubation period is? Yes, I like the confidence. The last lady there. Come, let's come down here. I love that confidence.
Period is the period between which you get the disease or virus and the period you notice you have the disease or virus.
A round of applause. A round of applause. And I think Dr. Doni, we are very proud of Dr. Doni and the forces of us, or in the Nigerian police generally. I think she has not discovered a successor, somebody who will take over from her. About somebody who will take over from her. So we'll move quickly. I would like to invite CSP Teslim Onye.
Introduce yourself and tell them.
Good morning, Mr. Standing on existing protocol, I am CSP Teslim Oyemu. I'm a professional helicopter pilot, and I'm sure a lot of us here are surprised that the police has pilots amongst them. Well, we've always had pilots long before I was born, And the doctor asked a question. She asked, who amongst us would like to be police officers? And I saw very few hands. So I would like to ask that question one more time. Who wants to be a police officer? Very few. Anyway, just like you, I never saw myself as a police officer. Fate and destiny, so will have it, and I found myself in the police force. And before I joined the police, I set out an agenda for myself. I'm going to join the police for one thing, to better myself. I joined the police at the very bottom, as a constable. Right after I joined the police, I got admission to the University of Lagos, where I studied surveying and geoinformatics engineering. Along the line, the police sent out a signal asking for young police officers who would like to become pilots. And I applied. Why? Because I was ready. Because all the requirements that they asked for, I had them. So it was just right for me to take. I went through all the process, and I was shortlisted and sent out for training. And the training happened to be a scholarship. So basically, police took care of my education right from there. Today, I've been privileged to have attended schools both home and abroad. I've been to the US many times. I've been to the UAE, I've been to Sweden, I've been everywhere. All because I chose a career. And the only reason why I was able to get this far is because I was prepared. So if you wake up in the morning and you set out an agenda for yourself, and you write out steps that you need to take to be able to achieve those things, at the end of the day, when you look at the list that you wrote out, you will be able to ask yourself which of these things you've been able to accomplish. So now we go back to me being a police officer and being a pilot. That is combining two professions at the same time. And we will look at it and say, okay, the police have helicopters. Yes. How many of us have seen police helicopters before? Very good. Well, the police, just like they have the helicopters, they have so many other departments within the police. For people who love to fly, or people who want to be lawyers, doctors, just like our doctor here, engineers, and what have you. Name any profession, the police has them. Do you understand? And if you say, I don't want to be a police officer, that means you are actually limiting yourself. And when you limit yourself, you start to limit God. And when you limit God, you still limit yourself. It still comes back to you. Do you understand? So when you are asked if you would like to be a police officer, you ask yourself, if I join the police, which of the elite departments will I join? You join the police and you are still in secondary school, right? How many people are science students here? We have surveyors in the police, we have mechanical engineers, we have electrical engineers, we have doctors, we have so many of these science careers. So you can join the police and move into any of these departments and rise to the highest level. So don't limit yourself to, okay, yes, I want to be a doctor. Yes, you want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor and a police officer. That way you'll be contributing to the society in two different ways. Do you understand? So I would implore you to think more and take seriously to your education. Because if I hadn't done that, I don't think I'll be here today to speak to you. I've been flying for 14 years now, and I've been opportune to visit every state in this country. I've met name them from 1, 2, 3 to the 4th citizen of the country. I've been able to interact with them based on this. Do you understand? So now, the question people will still ask is, what do the police air wing, which I happen to belong, what do they do? How do you contribute to crime prevention and control? The helicopter is a versatile machine. It can do a lot of things. It's a machine that can stay in one place. It can move forward, it can move backward, left or right, up or down. So because of that, the police all over the world use the helicopter for area surveillance, riot control, information gathering, name it, all sorts of things. So right here in Nigeria, we do all those things as well. We do area surveillance. If there's a place where the ground troops can't reach, they send in the helicopter to go and get intelligence data from there. We go over there, we look at everything on the ground, and we are able to bring this raw data to the table for planning purposes. And when it's time for execution, we still participate to guide them, in doing their job properly. So there are so many interesting things that you can think of, So I will encourage us to think about it. The police needs you. Do you understand? The police needs you. So don't limit yourself to, just one career projection. Do you understand? Thank you.
In geography, yeah? How many of you are in geography? Okay. You are the school prefects? Okay. Can you tell us what police airway do in the Nigerian police? As a geography student, connected to geography, come and tell us. Please tell us your name, because we have media here. The media needs to know your name. The last person will get your name later. Introduce yourself.
Sorry, one minute. My name is Eminence Majesty. My name is Eminence Majesty, and relating to geography, I think the Nigerian airway, they fly airplanes and other airborne vehicles through the country.
In addition to what she just said, basically he talked about surveillance, he talked about gathering geographic data to enable the people in the situation to plan their operations. So, and I know geography is one of the knowledge you need to acquire, and that's the problem. Geography is a very beautiful course, and you acquire it and you study it, and then we need it in the Nigerian police. We'll move very quickly. I would like to use this opportunity to invite ASP Asafe.
Good morning, students. The principal permit me to stand by the existing protocol. I'm by name ASP Eristo Asap Laubiliri. By my facial appearance, I believe virtually all the students can tell who I am. Please, who am I? Hello? Good. That is the more reason why I feel I should appear in my attire. We call it what? Fully robed. I became a lawyer before I joined the Nigerian police. And that was as a result of the guiding and counseling. I didn't join the Nigerian police by mistake. It was a passion that I have for it. Please, who wants to be a lawyer? Good. Who wants to be a policeman? I've been seeing just two hands from same direction as well. Anyway, on a quick one, I would like to throw some little introductory aspect of the law. In a nutshell, what is law? Law can simply be defined as a framework drafted, made by the lawmakers, in brackets, the National Assembly, State House of Assembly, name them but few. Believe you me, in every family, there is what? A law governing that home. When I was very much younger, like you people, about 18, 20 years ago, one of the laws that was imposed by my dad is go out, come back home before 7 p.m. Is what? Is a law that is what? Governing my family. And I want to believe it's applicable to every family. So you see, law plays a vital role in our lives. Without law, there will be what? Anarchy. Without law, there will be what? War. So now, if I ask, what is the nexus between a lawyer and the Nigerian police? The nexus is very simple. Enforceability of that law. Last year, around March, if I'm not mistaken, there was what? A total lockdown as a result of what? COVID-19. And they say you shouldn't move. You should remain in what? Your houses. Schools were shut down, ministries were shut down. Name but few. No movement of vehicles. Now, if you happen to go out, if you are being arrested, you what? You'll be penalized. And that is what? The importance of the law in the country. The law says, don't steal. You went ahead and steal. You'll be what? You'll be arrested. Having been arrested, the police will what? Investigate you. Having investigated you, you what? You'll be charged to court. And it is what? The responsibility of the legal department in the Nigerian police to see that you are being what? Prosecuted for that act which is committed by you. Well, the law is very categorical, which is the 1999 Constitution as amended. We speak about what? Fair hearing, as enshrined in Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. And there's what we call actus reus and mens rea in law. Now, the law will say, what makes Mr. A to go and steal? What makes Mr. Z to commit murder? Yes, we can see the physical act. But what's the mens rea that makes him to commit that unlawful act? The law will now what? Give you what? Fair hearing. By you being charged to court does not mean that you committed that offense. There is what we call what? Presumption of innocence. Permit me to make a demonstration of this. Let's assume this is my property. Okay, take it. Without my consent, without my knowing it, she has what? Stolen it. If she stole it, she will be arrested at the end of the day. Having been arrested, she will be asked, what makes you to steal this? She will say, I was broke, I don't have money. I need to steal this to what? To go and sell it so that I will have money. But that is not what? An excuse in law. The law says an ignorance of the law is what? Never an excuse. It's never an excuse. So therefore, having committed the act, should be what? Prosecuted so that it will serve as what? A deterrence. Let's assume maybe Mr. B, she intends to commit such kind of act. If she discover that Ms. A is being prosecuted for that act, she will say, I'm not going to do it. Reason being that I was prosecuted. So that will serve as a deterrence to you and you. That is the function of the law in our society. Having been sentenced for that offense, if you find yourself in the correctional center, formerly known as what? The prison. If you have been in prison, there's what we call what? Rehabilitation center. You will not just be kept just like that. If you happen to steal this hand sanitizer, you will not be kept where hardened criminals are, like those ones that committed murder, armed robbery. You will be kept in a lighter place so that you will be rehabilitated. While at the correctional center, you will also be taught so many trade artisans, so that having served your sentence, you will come out and be useful in the society. You will not be a liability to the society. So therefore, the Nigerian police and the law, they work hand in hand. Without enforceability, the law is a nullity. No wonder we say our laws are good, but the problem is implementation. Now if the law says, don't move, your right is being curtailed, right of movement, freedom of movement, and it happens to be moving around, and there is no enforceability for all intent and purpose, that law is a nullity. It's a nullity. So therefore, enforceability is very, very important in Nigeria. Now let me draw our attention. What are the functions of the law? What are the functions of law in Nigeria? One of the functions of the law in connection with the Nigerian police is what? Protections of life and property. That is the key function of the Nigerian police. It boils down to what? The protection of your life and your property. Without those two items, I don't think we need Nigerian police. What are you protecting? There are no human beings. What are you protecting? There are no properties. So what are you protecting? Therefore, all intents and purposes, there will be no word. Nigerian police. Because the essence of the Nigerian police today is what? To protect your life, to protect your property. When you go to other nations where there are no laws, you'll be hearing anarchy, killing here and there. Yes, quite all right. It happens in Nigeria as well. Don't you have robbers? We do. But the essence of the Nigerian police is to what? To curtail that act. So believing you me, if you are shying away from joining the Nigerian police, I want to charge you and I want to challenge you that you are making a mistake to some extent, because it is a noble profession. Noble profession in the sense that you will exploit in all ramifications of life. When I was about to join the Nigerian police, my colleagues were saying, why do you want to join the Nigerian police? I say, I do a job that I drive what? Pleasure. I'm not after the money. Pleasure, satisfaction. I'm believing you me today. I work together in court. I defend the Nigerian police. I prosecute offenders. I send them to prison, which is what known as the correctional center. So that is the essence of the Nigerian police. And that is the importance of lawyer. Thank you all. If you have any questions,
My name is Aisha Isaiwa.
Can you tell me what you learned from this training?
Well, I learned that not only people that are determined to be police officers can be police officers. Even doctors, lawyers, everyone could be a police officer only if that person aspires to acquire what he desires.
So, would you like to be one?
Maybe somehow. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Which department will you love to be?
Medical department.
Medical department. Am I talking to a doctor?
Yes, sir.
Nice to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Your name again?
Huh?
Your name again?
Aisha Isaiwa.
What class are you?
SS3B.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Your name?
My name is Ohajiba Catherine Chinonso.
Can you tell me what you learned from this training?
I learned that you can be anything as long as you do the right thing and not have hope and be forward.
Is it good to be a drug addict?
No, it's not good.
Is it good to be part of cultism in the school?
No, it's not good to be a cultism in school.
So would you like to be a police officer?
I was planning on becoming a soldier, not a police.
What do you like to be?
A soldier.
Soldier. Okay. And which department would you love to be?
Air Force.
You want to be a pilot in the soldier?
Because of him.
The pilots that you've seen today. So that tells you that you can be a pilot and also be a soldier.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm watching out. I'll continue to watch out for you to see that you're really a soldier or you are in the military as a pilot. Okay?
Sir, thank you, sir.
Your name again?
My name is Ohajibachino Sokechun. I'm in SS2C. You're welcome, sir.
Introduce him. He will do the introduction by himself. Please, a round of applause for him, please.
This is expression of obedience to the law.
Thank you very much. I don't want to stand on the existing protocol because I don't know how strong the protocol might be, but I know that we have the protocol already established for COVID-19, and that's where we are, which I've already observed. With due respect to the officers and coordinators already seated, and to you all, my name is Ebere Amariz. I'm a Chief Superintendent of Police, and I'm the National Coordinator of the Police Campaign Against Cultism and Other Vices. In short form, it is called PUCACOV, which is meant to be for all of you. PUCACOV is the initiative of the Nigerian Police Force under Inspector General of Police Mohammed Abubakar Adamu, MPM, MUNR, aimed at saving Nigerian children and youth from the claws of cultism, sexual and gender-based violence, substance and drug abuse, and other related vices. And it is a community-driven program because we work with different stakeholders. Everybody is involved in what we are doing. So it's away from the usual thing that police used to do before, arresting people, taking them to jail before this order will come. So what we do is that we try to sensitize you, we advocate, we mentor you, we mentor students, talk to you just like as we're doing right now, just mentoring you, telling you on the good path to follow so that you don't derail. And of course, the consequences, because when you get involved, as a result of these consequences, it will shut you off from becoming that champion we are talking about. And I want to believe that each and every one of you seated here wants to be a champion. Who wants to be a champion? You see, when they ask all of you who wants to be police, all of you see, but everyone doesn't want to be a champion. Is it also? We don't have to be able to themselves. It's because that we know that all of you want to be a champion. That's why we are here. That's why the slogan of protocol is all about you. That's why we are packaging all this program that will make you become that champion of your dream. That's why we're presenting this to you. So they have made my job very easy. They have presented, accruing benefits in life to you. Programs, doctor, pilots, and so on and so forth. Policemen, just a lot of things. Journalists, name them. Anything you want, engineer is there. But the problem is that cola not last long in the mouth of people who want to do value this. So if you value the championship, it means that you have to stay away. You have to stay away from what? Crime, cultism, and other vices. cutting shots. That your friend will be telling you that the boy has one runs. You know, exam malpractice. You want to do some exam malpractice and pass. Do some certain things, pain-free. They are telling you, you want to do this. You want to belong. You want to be known in the school. You want to have it all. If you want to cut corners, go ahead. Okay. Principal to present the gifts to a very tall, able-bodied young. Cynthia Zewa is your own. Emmanuel Adeola. Send the camera. Emmanuel Obi John Bosco. A round of applause for them, please. Obi John Bosco, Mohammed Mukhtar. Is Mohammed Mukhtar here? Okoro Faith. We have to invite the deputy DPRO, FCD Command to take over from the National Coordinator of Command. I have the Vice Principal representing the gifts. Is Okoro Faith here? Yes. Enoch Abraham. Enoch Abraham. Eunice Ojobane. Eunice. Benga Victoria, are you ready? We have to invite the police chief pilot to come forward and assist the principal of Government Secondary School Gariki representing the gifts. Benga Victoria here. Toby Manuel. Adetunji Aisha. Adetunji Aisha. Oseku Justice. Augustine John. A round of applause for your principal for. This is not the duty for your principal, no. A round of applause for your principal.
I said before now, I said it's a calculated attempt. These students are just coming. And then today it has been wonderful, very interesting. What they had today, and even myself, the speaker, really it will go a long way. And then it will be very difficult for us to forget today because of what took place today. And then in the school, she says, no only school that impart knowledge. Look at the police, came with different, professionals, and really they have imparted knowledge to our students. And it will go a long way in helping us discipline, contain all sorts of vices in the school.
What about, in terms of career training? In school, when the students...
Before even I dispatch the student, I've touched that area. I even mentioned it that when they said who wants to become a police, who wants to become a teacher, reluctantly, in fact, they don't want even to indicate that. But I want to tell them that all professions are very important. But I want to say that despite the fact that I'm a teacher, my profession, really there was a time the police made a statement that for a police to cease to work for a day, that means the whole country will, and we have seen it during the NSAS, when they were very careful, when they have been accused, a section of police has been accused, molesting, but when the they watch and see the reaction of people, really something happens. So I want to disabuse the minds of these our students and any other person that the police, in every profession there are good and bad. Because the only, impression people are, they will say that police are not good. Police are this, police are that. That is why whenever they ask people, do you want to become a police? People will not be, reluctantly, they will not. So in fact, we will continue to encourage them so that there are a lot of opportunities. And today, even myself, get to know that really there are knowledgeable people, different professions in police force.
So what do you have to tell the Nigerian police?
Well, what I want to tell them is that they should continue in that spirit. Really, the IGP and his team, they are doing a lot of work, and they should continue with this kind of awareness, because even this one is better than even what we had today. Arrest will minimize criminality in the country, where police will have less work to do. So really, I want to thank the IGP and all these rank and file officers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Progression, potential. If you want to be a pilot, it is easier for you to go through the Nigerian police. They are not only for crime. What do? They make sure they monitor the young minds, especially in the use of social media. We thank them because what is at stake now is issue of social media. Most of our young ones are involved in social media crime. Positive use of social media, they have told you. The Nigerian police is compact. We have doctors who have spoken to us, especially concerning the COVID-19. We really appreciate you. The issue of cultism, which the young ones are involved. You have spoken wisely. You want to be a champion, what do? You avoid cultism. We thank you very much for coming, for imparting in the young minds. It will go a long way in even helping us in our day-to-day activities in the school. Thank you very much for coming.
Now, you must agree with me that Nigerian police is not the same again. If you listen to them, the young ones are now sure of what they can easily achieve, even to be if you are part of Nigerian police force. Your career, those things that you plan to be, as sure, even in Nigerian police. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, GTV Africa, and like our Facebook page, GTV Africa Services. Till I come your way next time, I'm Bemiga Olamikon, reporting for GTV. Thank you so much. Peace.